What is absolutely unnecessary? People starving. There is enough resources in the world so that no one, it doesn't matter where they're from or where they are, should starve to death, or be homeless, or die of a treatable disease. Exactly. The right to food, shelter and medicine should be a universal human right. There is enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. TikTok. Taking off your shoes to pass through airport security. Putting people down for no reason. He was old, and in a lot of pain. He had had a good life. But it was time to end. He was a baby. He was just hungry. You animal. Expensive clothes for small dogs. Expensive clothes for small dogs. FTFY. That's a bit too broad. Dogs can get cold in the winter. Especially breeds with short hair. Getting them a coat for their walk is something more people should do really. Also, dogs' paws are quite sensitive to heat. If it's summer and you're in a city, get them shoes so they don't burn their paws on the asphalt. If it's too hot for your hand to be comfortable, it's too hot for your dog's paws. My 13-year-old Dobie has thin fur and loves wearing sweaters in the winter. That being said, it's whatever sweaters I find cheap. She doesn't care either way. Piercings in children. Star Wars sequels. Just leave the animated shows and games to develop the universe. God damn it. Daylight savings time. We should leave the clocks forward. Nipples on men. Arguing with kids under the age of 10. I'm smart. You're dumb. I'm big. You're little. I'm right. You're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it. My aunt still says this to me. I'm 26. Isn't it the most demeaning st? Drives me up the FN wall. Drama. Planned obsolescence. I can imagine someone making an argument that it's necessary to do to thrive in the competitive business context that we are in. I would argue that any context which makes it necessary is flawed. If planned obsolescence is necessary in the context of capitalism that we exist in, then this demonstrates a defect with the capitalism we exist in itself. Yes. It is sad. 20-year-old fridge goes out. You think, well, 20 years. That was pretty good. Get a brand new, energy-efficient model that croaks after 2 years. And they are all about the same. We have no choice but to buy garbage anymore. Or just keep fixing the old stuff until laws banning planned obsolescence are passed. But then they stop making parts for the old stuff. Or phase out things. Like old antifreeze. For example. No, you can no longer just charge the antifreeze on your old AC unit. You have to replace it. Using strawman tactics. You're wasting everyone's time. And if you need to misrepresent your opponent's viewpoint in order to effectively argue against it, they probably have the more sensible opinion. Social media influencers. Ticketmaster and StubHub. As a local musician, I can say that. While Ticketmaster is literally Satan for any reputable act, us shitty cover bands have no way to validate real tickets from fake tickets without Ticketmaster. It just makes it so much easier to have a basic level of authentication for the sales of tickets we all have to make. What about brown paper tickets? Why not just charge at the door? Cut out the middleman entirely. A short version of the movie trailer before the actual movie trailer on YouTube. Edit. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Blade Runner 2049 trailer. The latest 007 film did this and it was so stupid. Like 30 seconds of action followed by, watch the trailer soon. Quote. For a lot of people. Going into the office. Parents relying on other people to raise their own kids. Third-party hotel booking sites. The best rate you can get is by calling the hotel. Being polite. And having a little bit of luck. This is coming from a front desk associate. What tips do you suggest for asking for better rate? Usually when I call, They quote me a few bucks above booking websites, and I don't know if front desk is authorized to offer a price match or if I'm doing a Karen. Lol. I mean, it depends on the hotel corporate policy, the manager's lenience, and the season. Hence the luck part of my comment. But I work for a Wyndham branch hotel and we'll do a 10% better rate than a verifiable travel site rate. The hotels have to pay those sites commission and would rather have guests book directly through the hotel anyway. So, if you're polite and you can reference the travel site you're looking at in comparison, we'll want to help you out and book that at a lower rate for you. Definitely not always true. I've tried this before and the rate was even more expensive. They told me if I wanted the third-party discount to reserve online there. Hollywood writers who cannot get even the simplest of technical computer details right, even though there's an abundance of people who they can hit up to review for accuracy and actually get it right. Most meetings. We have email. What I've come to realize is that 90% of meetings are necessary. But the duration of those meetings is about 90% too long. Exactly. It depends on the purpose of the meeting and the culture of the office. Oh, and how well the meeting is run. I came from a culture that was very collaborative, and it was important to at least get to the appearance of consensus. And we had a very weak boss, who would say, "Go figure it out," if you asked for a decision. It was very inefficient but necessary. I adopted the GTD approach for the meetings I ran, so we at least knew what the next actions were, who was going to do them, and when they'd be done. My job now is I and a couple of my colleagues will get a meeting notice from the boss on 20 minutes notice. We scamper up to his office. Or now Skype in. He talks for 30 minutes and ends the meeting. Then we have to spend another hour trying to figure out what he just asked for and try to divvy it up amongst ourselves, but none of actually knows precisely what we've just been asked to do so or by when. I'd take the long discussions about everyone's feelings that resulted in defined actions over the drive-bys from the boss I get now, and include about 90% unnecessary participants. Most celebrities. Laugh tracks. Wasps. Wasps are necessary. While they can also kill some beneficial insects, they can be helpful in eating crop-destroying bugs such as grubs, caterpillars and weevils. They are so useful in this respect that farmers will sometimes ship wasps in as a natural pest control for their crop. They also offer some pollination. Racism. It's idiotic. Man single-handedly ended racism. As my mom taught me, there are no bad races, just bad individuals. Vague booking. For those who don't know, it's where someone posts vague details to social media regarding someone who did something to irritate them. Usually one of their friends, followers, so they'll see the post. The idea is to make the post so broad that if the person in question decides to bring it up, the op can pull the "well, if the shoe fits" justification. Just speak to the person directly. Reddit gold. Why would anyone pay real-world money for a random stranger? Makes no sense. The few times I did receive awards, it made me happy as HL. I consider that a good reason. It made me uncomfortable, to be honest. I'm glad they liked my posts. But really, I'm sure they can put their money to better use elsewhere. Why would anyone pay real-world money for a random stranger, multi-million-dollar company to put an icon above the comment of a random stranger? It blows my mind too. Being rude and saying st that you should keep to yourself. Rudeness. We all have bad days. Issues in life. Maybe a sick family member or yourself. It still doesn't give you a right to be mean to others. Never let your own mood affect the way you treat others. Easier said than done. But I try to remember this when I'm feeling impatient and angry. I'm so sick of hearing the argument, "Well, if you wouldn't have made me mad in the first place, then I wouldn't have treated you like st." Quote, "If you hadn't opened your mouth in the first place, everyone's day would have been a lot better." Pal. Edit. Words. If you're not the reason for my bad mood, you don't get to experience my bad mood. People who drive reaalllyy slow. I have one friend who drives 15 over the speed limit. I have another friend who drives the speed limit. The one who drives the speed limit got into a car accident before, and that's why they drive the speed limit. I drive the speed limit now. American tipping culture. Just pay your FG waiters a livable wage. The burden of paying your staff shouldn't be on the generosity of your customers. This isn't just America, but I agree. While this is true, it's a whole other thing in Europe. My ex-girlfriend was from Canada and she told me it's rude to give less than 15% regardless of the service. And if it was good, you give even more. While that is good for the waiter, I find it totally nonsensical because their actual purpose was to show gratitude for an excellent service and not to calculate how much is enough not to be rude. In Europe, this is much more relaxed. We still leave tip, but we're not going crazy like this. Unnecessary hate. People hating stuff because they want to hate it. No reason. Certainly no explanation. They just hate it. I don't hate anything without a reason. But I don't like people acting like I owe them an explanation when I say I dislike something. I hate this comment. I expected this. From a certain point of view. Everything. Water seems pretty FG necessary. It's not widely known. But you can go without drinking anything for the rest of your life. You can also eat bullets without any long-lasting ill effects. Wasps. Especially murder wasps. Absolutely true. Also mosquitoes. But they do help to an extent in controlling population. So not sure about it. This post. This comment. This rebuttal. This. Dog and cat breeds with those FD up noses. Yes. Look at pictures of them from 100 years ago. Flat-faced cats are so inhumanely bred that some of them are born with holes in their skulls. Pugs shouldn't even exist. More than half their Wikipedia page lists health problems. Silent letters in words. Ideally, you should be able to spell a word correctly by how it sounds. Q sounds like Q. Fix your teen and conversion therapy. Seriously. What is the point of civilization if it isn't supporting the people living within it? Especially children. I thought that was the whole point of getting out of the weather and away from the saber-toothed tigers. Owning a pet. Having children. Getting married. If you want those things, great. Go pursue your dreams. But if you just want them because that is what society says to want, don't do it. You'll just end up miserable. And/or the kids won't have a good childhood. Quibi. I just want to know how much was invested in it. TBH, I still don't know what it's meant for. I kept getting ads for it like a month back. Still confused what the product even is. Being bothered by how other people live their lives when they aren't hurting anyone or themselves. This. I've never understood it. Today someone tried to hurt my feelings by commenting on my art Instagram by mentioning my abortion, which isn't new news. I'm an advocate and supporter of PP and the right to choose. What's the point of commenting something just to hurt someone? That it may not even hurt? It's just rude and makes the other person feel more sorry for the commenter. Just here to support you in your having done what was right for you. Get those laws off our bodies. This comment. So is this post. Me too. Hug. Arguing with toxic people in multiplayer games. 99% of the time it gets even more heated and leads to nothing. I only ever play on mute. Heaven. I've never used the chat. Nipples on the batsuit. You trying to get smacked. War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Gold flakes on food. It's both expensive and tasteless. Tasteless in more ways than one. But how else are you gonna claim to have the most expensive bagel in the world? Make a seemingly normal bagel, add gold and charge $300. Instagram influencers. Instagram. Influencers. Designer breeds of animals. Their mongrels and a lot have pretty serious genetic damage or neurological problems because they're bred for cash. Not for the welfare of the animals. Like the German Shepherd, for example. Absolutely gorgeous dog. But a lot of breeders make it so their hind legs are in a slight crouch position, and it's very bad for their health, and they tend to get arthritis easier. I believe. If I'm wrong, correct me. Yes, big hip dysplasia issues in these dogs as a result of looks breeding. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.